Hello, I'm in the Group 7 for the ENGR-1000 midterm project, and today we're going to be talking about ethics of racial diversity in the engineering workplace. Now, before I get started, it's important that we talk about quickly what diversity is. So, simply put, diversity is just the differences between people. So today we're going to be mainly honing in on the racial differences between people. And this connects into what we're talking about since nowadays, as a society, we're beginning to talk about different deep-seated issues which have been brought up properly in the past. And one of these issues is the lack of representation of different races in a variety of fields. And one of these fields is engineering. Engineering itself is a very diverse field and has brought up with it lots of innovations throughout history. And despite being such an impactful field, it has a very poor representation of people of color. And this is seen through the stereotype of a typical engineer. The stereotype of a typical engineer is often depicted as an old white man with oftentimes poor social skills, which is touched upon in a paper called The Importance of Diversity in Engineering, in which it describes how the stereotype also includes a lack of creativity and overall dullness. So not only is this image unappealing to those who may consider going into engineering, but also does not reflect how America is nowadays. With a growing non-white population, this proves to be very detrimental and can maybe even lessen the amount of people who might be willing to go into engineering. However, problems with the race in engineering have been a thing for a very long time. For instance, when a woman graduated in 1987, as described in an article by The Guardian, she describes how for a very long time she saw many opportunities fly by her since she was a woman of color. Speaking of which, even in the modern day, many people of color, especially African Americans, as described in a Pew Social Trends research article, that their coworkers and bosses are not talking about racial differences and the lack of diversity enough. So in order for us to solve this problem of a lack of representation, we need to directly address it head on and approach in a way which has been different from the ways we've been doing it in the past.
According to a National Science Foundation, there is a need for a technical workforce with the changing demographics of the nation. The nation is becoming more diverse due to increasing minority groups. There are many ways to improve and graduating diversity students to the School of Engineering. The first and the foremost way is to enrollment of undergraduate in the curriculum. Underrepresented minorities frequently face unique challenges in science, technology, mathematics and engineering fields. Sometimes they become isolated and lack of counseling make them setbacks from their goals. Diversity group requires proper training and mentoring to achieve excellence. The second step is recruitment. Recruitment of diversity group. Recruitment program must be based on the personal connection with those institutions and programs which support underrepresented minorities, undergrads in science, technology, engineering and mathematics disciplines. The third way is to make groups and organizations. University of Connecticut has many different culture centers such as African American Culture Center, Asian American Culture Center, Puerto Rico Latin American Culture Center, Women's Center, Rainbow Center, and Native American Culture Center. University of Connecticut has introduced a new program known as RISE Diversity Education Program. RISE stands for Reaching Inclusive Excellence. The RISE workshops are held by students and faculties, which are mainly for first year and freshman students. The University of Connecticut Inclusive Program involves diversity and cultivate leaderships, integrity and citizenships among students, faculties and staff. To achieve this goal, UConn embraced diversity in recruitment, retention and advancement of staff, students and faculties.
Therefore, the question becomes, how can employers reach out to different demographics and make their workplace more diverse? How can a firm attract different kinds of employees to make their firm more holistic? And that's very important in the engineering field because 60% of Black STEM employees believe that racial diversity is often overlooked and doesn't get enough attention in their workplace. Research conducted by the Royal Academy of Engineering even stated that nearly 90% and upwards of employers even believe that racial diversity is overlooked, and they believe that this is going to be a dilemma in the future when they're trying to recruit employees. They believe that diversity in the workplace, especially in an engineering work setting, can bring a different perspective, and that will increase innovation because there will be more creativity, and it will really, in result, help the whole firm. So what's really important is how we attract these different diversity employees into the engineering field. One way to do that is to promote all kinds of employees to higher positions within a company to make it seem more attractive to new employees. A second way that we can do that immediately is to support organizations such as NSBE that give opportunities to groups that might not have as much interest or are perceived to not have as much interest in engineering as the typical engineering stereotypical group. Lastly, people who are already in the field can help greatly. They can be mentors to new diverse engineers coming in, and they can hold seminars and reach out to those who are not yet interested or not yet pursuing engineering, and let them know that the opportunities are there for all kinds of people, because the future of engineering really depends on how diverse the workforce is, and a more diverse workforce will bring more innovation, more collaboration, more creativity to the field, which will help us build a better world.
With all the issues of the ethnic and racial diversity within the field of engineering, we need to look towards the future in order to fix these issues. The future of engineering depends on a more diverse workforce for a number of reasons. The innovation and talent of others, besides the stereotypical white male engineer, and the shifting demographics of America. Currently, the shift in America, the minority populations are rising, and so they're going to need more room within the engineering field for others. One way to help this is to implicate programs to assist these minority groups within college and even moving out of college into the workforce. Unfortunately, in today's world, the engineer is seen as the old white male. So, oftentimes, especially as kids, those of African American descent or Hispanic descent, which only represent 11% of all STEM employees, do not see themselves as becoming an engineer. One way to do this is to get these kids introduced to the STEM field at a young age, which currently many people are trying to do by creating STEM programs within elementary and middle school and even through high school. Once they get through high school and they decide, hey, maybe I can be an engineer, they need to then go to college and see themselves and put the effort in of becoming an engineer.